All right. Go back up here. Hello, my name is Morgan, and the insect I'm going to be defending today is the Glenorrhis gratis, also known as the antlion.
Hello, my name is Bailey Coombes, and I will be defending the claim that the emperor dragonfly, properly known as Anax imperator, is a better predator compared to the antlion, specifically Glenorrhis gratis.
As I have previously mentioned, the insect I'm going to be talking about today is the antlion. The antlion is an interesting insect that is often mistaken for a dragonfly. While its body is composed almost exactly like the dragonfly, it actually has many differences. You can distinguish the difference between these two by the clubbed antennae that the antlion possesses, which is as long as their head and thorax. Their wing patterns are also vastly different, and the antlion is mostly nocturnal. These insects are great predators who start their hunting early off in their larvae stage. In their larvae stage, they are tiny wingless creatures with short, stout bodies and giant jaws. Antlions usually live in very sandy and hot places. The larvae tend to stay underground where it is cool and hunt for their prey there. To do this, they make pits in the sand and then bury themselves underneath and wait. When an ant walks into its pit, the larvae emerges from underground and grabs its prey and ruthlessly slams its body into the ground, while sinking its venom-filled pincers into its body. If the ant is to get away, it will try to run up the pit. This becomes impossible because the antlion will begin throwing sand, which loosens the sand beneath the ant's legs. This technique is basically making an avalanche of sand for the ant, sweeping it back to the antlion. Once the antlion gets a hold of its prey, it will begin sucking its insides out, and the ant will be dead before it is fully immersed under the sand. This is an extremely intelligent tactic that requires little to no effort for the antlion, as it only takes them a night to build their pits. Ironically, these insects are known as the doodlebug, kind of a cute name for such a relentless insect. Not only is the insect a savage predator, but it is also extremely helpful to our society. Since the antlion's diet is mainly ants, they dwindle the fire ant population by great amounts, keeping your ankles safe from those pesky stings.
To give you a bit of a background on the emperor dragonfly, it is one of the biggest and fastest dragonflies of them all. They are rarely found away from a water source, and as adults, they only tend to live for about 10 days total. This means a vast majority of their life is spent as larvae underwater. They are known for their large size and bright blue or green coloring, which depends on the sex. They are one of nature's most fascinating creatures with many unique skills that make them a fantastic predator. It is because of this that they can be considered the world's deadliest hunters. One of its many great abilities is its speedy and cunning flight skills. Their immaculate flight abilities enable them to hunt, capture, and eat their prey all in mid-air. Because of this ability, they capture over 95% of the prey they target. They are incredible hunters since they can fly in all directions and at all speeds up to 38 miles per hour. This is an ability engineers and scientists alike are exhaustively trying to incorporate into modern technology and future innovations. Another useful tool implemented by dragonflies is their impeccable sight. They are armed with massive, multifaceted eyes that enable them to detect prey up to 40 feet away, according to Lady Wildlife. Having this great vision is just one more thing that makes this dragonfly a very skilled predator. The emperor dragonfly also does a lot of good removing pests in both the larvae and adult stages of their life. As larvae, they have extendable jaws that enable them to eat all kinds of nasty larvae, such as those of mosquito and water lice. Once they become adults, they continue this pattern of eliminating annoying and potentially disease-carrying insects. This dragonfly has been around unchanged for about 230 million years. This only further proves their effective survival tactics and superiority as predators.
Alright, so now we're going to start our questions and rebuttals.
Alright, so first question. So essentially the only way the antlion can get its prey is if it waltzes into its trap, i.e. no hunting capabilities.
Yeah, so this is a great question. Essentially, yes, that is the answer, but what has to be understood about this insect is that they live in sandy, hot environments. For any insect to survive in that type of climate, they must hunt at night and burrow during the day, or suffer a heat stroke or imminent death. Antlions' diets are mainly ants because ants have bodies lifted up from the sand so that they do not fry whilst hunting for food for their mound during the blistering hours of the hot day. This allows the antlion to hunt for its prey without even leaving the safety of its burrow. Also, at night, while other predators are lurking for their prey, the antlion is safely underground or even building their traps for in the morning. This is a very advanced technique that requires no actual hunting. Hunting is very dangerous and sometimes ends up in the predator's own death. But because the antlion is very well hidden and hard to get to, the antlion larvae have an exceptional larvae to adult rate. All right, so my question for you are there any hunting techniques that the emperor dragonfly possesses other than like the normal typical hunting approach?
Good question. The emperor dragonfly does not, in fact, have any alternative hunting technique. This is simply due to the fact that they don't need one. With their lethal abilities and impact from larva to adult stage, they are plenty effective with their current methods. As larvae, they can use their massive jaw to eat larvae of other insects that surround them in the water. Once they transition to their adult stage, the real fun began. They develop the super handy eyesight that allows them to track their prey at all times. They also develop incredibly fast and cunning flight abilities that enable them to capture all kinds of flying insects midair. Not only do they catch them midair, but due to the oblique angle and unique build of their thorax, they can even consume their prey whilst in the air. The dragonflies are also equipped with powerful legs that enable them to keep a tight grip on their live prey as they consume it. Alright, so here's my next question for you. If the tunnel trap is such an effective method for antlions, why do they develop wings and seize that simple hunting method when they become adults?
Again, this is another great question. It is hard to say exactly why any insect changes from a hungry and feisty little larvae to a long and lean winged creature. When an antlion gets to its peak size in the larvae stage, they will begin to form a cocoon formed by sand and other materials native to its climate. They stay in this stage for a couple months and then enter their pupae stage. In their pupae stage, they will stay underground before emerging as a full-grown winged antlion. Once in their adult stage, they will begin hunting at night. The antlion's diet changes between this stage, and now they eat pollen and nectar. Since the antlion is only about at night, the chances of it being caught by any predator is slim. To answer your question, I believe antlions cease their methods in their larvae stage because it is no longer needed in their adult stage. When antlions are susceptible to other predators on the ground, they need better hunting techniques and a heartier diet. But when in the adult stage, they need to avert less energy towards such activities because their diets now have plentiful options. I see their adult stage as retirement. They spend all their time going through the egg, larvae, and pupae stage, fighting at every stage to adapt to the ferocious environment around them. But once they reach their adult stage, they can finally begin to mate and rest easy knowing they are one of the best predators in the insect kingdom. And my question for you is that we all know that dragonfly's biggest predator is a frog. What are ways of protection or techniques that the emperor dragonfly uses against these hungry predators?
Interesting question. Though the frog is one predator of the emperor dragonfly, they happen to have quite a list of predators in both their larva and adult stages. They are often food for fish, spiders, tadpoles, and even some plants. Basically anything that is skilled or lucky enough to capture them. Per the rules of nature, they don't always survive attacks of predators, but when they do escape, their escape can likely be attributed to their impeccable skills I previously mentioned. Their advanced skills, including their speedy flight capabilities and extensive, nearly 360-degree eyesight, are their main assets, not only for hunting, but also evading predators. The larvae, however, being entirely underwater, cannot simply fly away from their predators. It is because of this that they have a few tricks of their own to evade capture. In the water, the larvae mainly have to avoid ducks, fish, and amphibians. One of the ways that they manage to disappear from these predators' radar is to play dead, sneakily swim away, or hide amongst plants. They can also grow new limbs during molting so they can escape the predator by letting their limbs fall off.
Alright, and so now we're going to start our closing statements. In closing, I believe the antlion is the most ferocious predator in the insect kingdom. Unlike the emperor dragonfly, the antlion has techniques to catch its prey rather than just the old-fashioned mindless hunting. Such hunting techniques were left by humans millions of years ago for more conventional and easier methods of hunting, methods that have resulted in the overall rise to the human population. Antlions are the humans of their species. They are the most advanced insects and continue to work their way up to the top of the insect food chain. Antlions are able to keep themselves safe and provide themselves with more than enough food, while the dragonfly is always in a constant state of danger. While the dragonfly is in its larvae stage, it is constantly fighting to survive against predators like the frog and even other dragonflies. On the other hand, though, the antlion knows beginning in their larvae stage exactly how to survive and thrive in their harsh environment. From building cones in the sand for unsuspecting prey to ruthlessly slamming their bodies into the ground. These insects are equipped with the right tools to be named the best predator. If this doesn't change your mind, just look up a antlion on YouTube and watch its unconventional attacks play out before your own eyes. The suspenseful music and dramatic sound effects will make you a fan of the notorious antlion.
In conclusion, despite the impressive ability of the antlion, I still strongly believe that the emperor dragonfly is a deadlier and overall better predator. Having nearly 360-degree vision, combined with ridiculously fast flight abilities and mobility, there's hardly any room for comparison. The emperor dragonfly is a fierce predator from its larva stage up until its adult stage. It can have up to a 97% success rate in capturing and then consuming all kinds of prey mid-air. They are a scientific marvel and the subject of much exploratory and inventive research. Surviving 230 million years with no adaptations is just a further testament to their impeccable power, not to mention their evasive abilities that enable them to survive attacks from all sides in all stages of their lives. With its multiple superior abilities, combined with its effectiveness in its pursuits, I think its skill outranks those of nearly all insects, especially the antlions. And that concludes our debate.